Qualification for the 2018 World Cup regained momentum Friday as the USA cast off the shadows of two lackluster performances in September to thrash Panama 40 at Orlando City Stadium. The Americans charged out of the gate to push Panama back on its heels, yet despite scoring twice in the opening 20 minutes couldn't then knock the ball around to dictate tempo and drain the energy out of their opponents. Instead, Panama swept forward numerous times through the middle third of the field to find shooting opportunities. Another masterclass performance by Christian Pulisic earned him a goal and an assist as well as several punishing hits. Forwards Jozy, Altidore and Bobby Wood marked solid performances by sharing the other 3 goals, and keeper Tim Howardand and his defensive mates did enough to post a somewhat shaky shutout. Here are 3 takeaways from an impressive victory that nonetheless contained a few disquieting elements. 1. The 442 formation works, sort of, arena, mindful that Panama didn't present the attacking potency nor defensive resilience of Costa Rica and Mexico, went with forwards Bobby Wood and Jozy Altidore and also slotted Christian Pulisic in behind them with only Michael Bradley as cover. Despite some success attained earlier in the hexagonal playing a 3-man back line against Mexico and Honduras that triggered speculation by some observers he go away from the 442 formation, arena played with a back 4 screened by Bradley. At times, it looked more like a 433 with Pulisic drifting wide left to set up a goal for Altidore as well as knifing through the middle to put away the first one himself. The attacking 3, supported on the flanks by Darlington Nagbe and Paul Arriola, ran between and behind the Panama back line, for which veteran and captain Felipe Baloy was especially shaky, to strike twice within the 20 minutes. The Americans generated chances throughout the game but not until late really snuffed out the Panamanian attacks. In the last 2 qualifiers against Costa Rica and Honduras, individual errors resulted in the U.S. conceding 3 goals on Friday. Trailing 20, Panama found large spaces in the attacking third as their midfielders got in behind Nagbe and Arriola to pull Bradley out of position. A desperation tackle by DeAndre Yedlin on Alberto Quintero and fine save by Howard on Gabriel Torres midway through the first half kept Panama scoreless, but his forays forward exposed the U.S. defensive deficiencies with 5 attacking players and only Bradley anchoring the middle. Early in the second half, Arena brought on Dax McCarty to shore up the middle third alongside Bradley and get Pulisic, who had already been hammered to the ground several times, out of harm's way. Before the 3 points were secured, Panama had done more than enough to confirm the feeling that if the Americans are to use the 442 going forward, there will have to be defensive tweaks of roles and/or personnel. 2. Main questions about Pulisic are not of position but of protection. For the 3rd straight game, Pulisic took several severe hits from tackles coming in too late, or simple professional shots with the ball many yards away. Had been physically and psychologically knocked off stride by Costa Rica and Honduras, but unlike in those games, he and his teammates converted early chances that were exploited. That didn't stop the punishment, but Pulisic kept going at the Panamanians to maintain the pressure. He left the game early in the second half with the US leading 30, and was shown by TV cameras after the game walking gingerly up a ramp to the US locker room. Protection for gifted players from CONCACAF referees is, in many cases, wishful thinking. No one from the US team took up the teenager's cause to dish out a retaliatory foul, and though Jermaine Jones is possibly out of the national team picture forever, it's hard to imagine the game unfolding as it did if an enforcer like him had been on the field. Several US players came into the game carrying a caution and thus didn't want to risk committing the type of foul that could prompt a caution and suspension for the Trinidad-Tobago match on Tuesday, but the issue of how to limit the damage inflicted on the young American star is not going away. He's the second coming of Landon Donovan, whose blend of energy, creativity and finishing helped transform the national team 16 years ago, and likely destined to be much better. What he probably needs to develop is a bit of Clint Dempsey, adept and always willing to dish out punishment, legally if possible, before he receives it. Playing Texas summers in a rough-and-tumble Hispanic league taught Dempsey, in his words, to take care of yourself, and a targeted player like Pulisic needs some of that orneriness as well. 3. Nothing wrong with the right kind of direct play. The Americans were unable to dictate tempo for much of the game through possession, despite grabbing 3 first-half goals, but direct play, often derided by critics as too predictable and preventable, produced those goals in the first place. A long goal kick by Howard was headed by Wood to Altidore, whose flick caught Pulisic in stride and sent him clear to ride a desperate attempted tackle by Ramon Torres and touch the ball past Penedo to slot home from a tight angle. Nugby triggered the second scoring sequence with an early ball up the flank that Pulisic took past right-back Michael Murillo to hit a low centering pass Altidore tapped into the net. By driving at defenders on and off the dribble, Wood unhinged the Panamanian back four repeatedly. Big saves by Penedo denied Wood and Altidore on breakthroughs before Wood skipped past Baloy and was yanked back by substitute Armando Cooper. Altidore bagged the third goal with a classic Panenka penalty kick as Penedo dove to his left. Wood showed his skillful side to score the fourth goal by collecting a nice cross from Areola, whose bustling work and constant pressure added to the benefits of direct play and twisted clear to shoot low inside the far post. When he took over from Jurgen Klinsmann 11 months ago, one of Arena's stated aims was to get the team to regain confidence in its strong points. It has many attackers who relish direct play, and one of his main tasks leading up to the World Cup will be developing methods to unleash those players.